Oh, we are eating good in 2026 already. Hi, my name is Matthew, and you might know me as BLackBoy on TikTok, BLackBoy on Blue Sky, it's BLackBoy on Twitter, BLack_Matt_ on Instagram, or you might not know me at all. And for those of you who don't, I'm a content creator that talks all things World of Wonder and Drag Race, especially that of Drag Race outside of the US. And today we're talking about a season that the fandom has been waiting for almost a whole year. Drag Race UK vs. the World Season 3. But first, as usual, a special thank you to the members of the BLackBoy YouTube membership program. Members who enjoy luxury benefits such as exclusive emojis and videos, early access, and member shoutouts like you're seeing on screen here. If you're not a member, feel free to click the join button down below to see the other perks you get if you do join, and if you are a member, thank you so much for your individual support. Okay, back to the topic at hand. In February 2025, rumors and murmurs started trickling through the fandom that a third season of the flagship vs. the World franchise was being produced. Obviously, this was exciting news, because even though Season 1 was one of the most controversial Drag Race experiences ever, Season 2 was overall beloved, even though it had its fair share of controversies as well. And controversy or not, UK vs. the World is one of the brand's most tantalizing and stimulating ventures, with fans from all over the world tuning in to participate in its discourse. So many people were tickled to find out that a third season was on its way, even if it's taking forever to finally reach the airwaves. And on Thursday, January 8th, 2026, the cast of 10 global glamazons was at long last revealed to the public, with representation spanning across 8 different countries/franchises, ranking it amongst the most geographically diverse international All-Star seasons, only behind Global All-Stars and currently tied with Slasian Royale. However, I recognize that most of the mainstream fandom does not watch the international franchises of Drag Race. The majority will watch Drag Race US, US All-Stars, probably UK, and maybe Canada if they're feeling frisky. So often, seasons like UK vs. the World tends to be the first introduction that many people have to some of these queens. With that in mind, I'm going to do something pretty similar to what I did prior to the airing of Global All-Stars, a quote-unquote beginner's guide to the cast of UK vs. the World Series 3, where I do my best to introduce the mainstream audience to the international queens competing on this season. And in addition to that, give those of you who do know these queens a little refresher. We'll go over the very basics of each contestant, their placements, their track records, maybe their careers both on and off the show, and what is my opinion, their best moment from their original seasons. So consider this video as sort of like a companion piece / biography of each queen that you can reference when you're engaging with the promotional material of UK vs. the World 3 or when the season is airing. What are my credentials, you may ask? I have seen every single franchise, every single season, every single episode, the majority of those of which I have watched at least twice over. And my hyperfixation typically blossoms with the international franchises. So trust that I am obsessed and can be a good handbook of Drag Race knowledge. So I thought it would be fun to put all those hours watching this show to good use and give you all a beginner's guide so that I can introduce you to queens who I know and love that you may not be familiar with. Get it? Got it? Good. Okay, so I think that about covers it. You guys ready? Also, I am back on my Celsius game. I have the retro vibe here. One of my New Year's resolutions in 2026 is to be sponsored by Celsius, please. I really kind of want it. We, of course, are beginning with the host nation of the United Kingdom, starting with SMINTY Drop. SMINTY Drop was the drag granddaughter of Season 1's Gothy Kendall, and she competed on Drag Race UK Series 4, where she finished with 9th place, getting eliminated after an improv challenge in Episode 4, where queens were tasked to liven it up in an off-the-cuff chat show with Alan Carr. So as you can kind of discern from her elimination, SMINTY Drop sort of struggled with comedy a bit, although that is only an assumption that we can make because she really only competed in one comedy challenge. A lot of SMINTY's talent lies in the visual department, establishing herself as one of Drag Race UK's most polished and well-beloved fashion queens. While she didn't win any challenges, she certainly came close in the Episode 1 Double Runway, a Drag Race UK tradition, and in the Episode 3 Design Challenge, where in pairs, queens had to craft looks based on a specific color. SMINTY was paired with LaPhil, and their looks were absolutely spectacular. I was obsessed with them, even though I did agree with Dakota and Baby winning. And even outside of her top placements, her runways always tore the other girls to shreds. Her main event look, the runway that she was eliminated in, was undoubtedly the best that week, and I myself know I'd be pissed if I got eliminated looking that good. So overall, I'm actually going to pick SMINTY's runway package as her best moment of UK Series 4. And if she brings the same level of caliber to her looks on UK vs. the World 3, the other girls better hope that their designers didn't f*** it up. Now you might hear all of this and think to yourself, oh, she's just going to be be another fashion queen who has no other skills besides looking good. And I don't necessarily agree. I think SMINTY has the potential to be a sleeper hit. Yes, we saw her struggle in a comedy challenge, but we saw inklings of other skills in her wheelhouse on her season. For example, during the episode 3 Girl Group Challenge, SMINTY easily wrote one of the best verses of anyone that episode, but was only in the bottom 3 because she slipped up on her own words, and the challenge was judged in teams. So I think we see hints of a fierce performer in there, and if she was able to hone in on those skills in the last 4 years since UK Series 4, then she could be a really big threat on UK vs. the World 3. Okay, so next we are moving on up to Drag Race UK Series 5 with Kate Butch. Kate Butch, as I mentioned, competed on the 5th season of Drag Race UK, where she finished with 5th place. Lots of 5s flying around here. She was eliminated during the makeover in episode 8 after losing a lip sync to the assassin of the season, DD-licious. Kate did claim one challenge win before her untimely demise, however, securing an acting challenge win in episode 7, where the queens were tasked with acting in satirical melodramas. She also found herself in the top 3 of other challenges, like the episode 5 Rusical and the episode 6 Snatch Game. Kate Butch was undoubtedly a comedy queen, as you can tell by which challenges she placed in the top 4. And in a franchise as comedy focused as Drag Race UK, she might have dominated, if she hadn't been on a season with other comedy powerhouses like Ginger Johnson and Michael Maruli. Her skills permeated in other ways though, because Kate Butch was a confessional queen through and through, always offering hilarious one-liners, quips, and witticism in cutaways that Drag Race producers love so much, and audiences love as well. Because similar to Tia Kofi in UK Season 2, this was the way that Kate Butch became an instant fan favorite amongst the fandom. The audience couldn't get enough of her, and I remember when the season was airing, somebody would always every single week post a clip of Kate Butch being funny, Kate Butch doing something funny, Kate Butch looking funny. Kidding. But she always had that humor that resonated with the fans. Her best moment was by far her performance in the acting challenge in episode 7, the episode that she won. Like, there was no doubt about it. She was able to showcase her comedic timing and other prowess in other challenges, but this was the one where she was able to show it off the best.
The nerve, the gall, the audacity, and yes, the gumption.
And it earned her a rightful win. So that's where Kate's strengths will lie. I know I paused a lot when I was saying that sentence, but it's because I was really struggling trying to say it before. But that will make her a huge threat on this season. Her humor is likely what's going to bring her home the gold, because as I said, the UK loves a comedy queen, even more than other franchises, and built a lot of their challenges around it. And if we look at the entire cast of UK vs. the World 3, it is a very fashion-heavy season. So while the other girls may dance circles around Kate Butch in the looks department, Kate Butch will probably be leaps and bounds ahead of the other girls in comedy challenges. But I live for her, so I wouldn't be mad. The third and final queen representing Drag Race UK is a friend of the pod. It's ZAHIRAH. ZAHIRAH ZAPANTA competed on the 6th season of Drag Race UK, where she finished with 10th place after getting eliminated by Lil following the Girl Group Challenge that week. ZAHIRAH admittedly did not have the best showing on her season, with her track record across her 4 episodes being safe, low, eliminated. But what do I always say? I can't hear you. That's right, a track record does not a queen make. ZAHIRAH is talented in her own right, and she's absolutely one of the most gorgeous there ever was. I mean, that mug is just lethal. Like, she could clear my student loan debt with that face card. Not to mention, I find her to be one of the most hardworking of the Drag Race UK alumnus. I always see her posting about a show that she's been working on or a club that she's performing at, so trust, she is getting paid. Her best moment, in my opinion, was actually her design challenge. I know it wasn't the best dress that we have ever seen, but I did not think that it deserved the bottom 3. It was clean, it was cute, it was fun, and frankly, I've seen worse outfits getting praised as elevated just because of their presentation. Jokes aside though, what really stood out for me in that challenge is that it really felt like it was the first time that we saw ZAHIRAH's point of view. There was intention there, even if the judges weren't ready to receive it. Sometimes the runway isn't about winning that week, but it's just about planting that seed of who this queen is. But all in all, with her diligent personality and her hardworking attitude, I think that ZAHIRAH could be a real sleeper hit this season, giving the other queens a run for their money. Now let's take a look at the one and only queen representing Drag Race US this season. Mariah Balenciaga. Mariah Balenciaga, formerly known as Mariah Paris Balenciaga, formerly known as Mariah, is our two-timer of UK vs. the World 3, competing on Drag Race US Season 3 and All Stars 5, finishing with 9th and 8th place respectively after getting eliminated on the Snatch Game and the Hotel Room Challenge, respectively. Unfortunately, she never won a challenge on her season, but the majority of the fandom will acknowledge and recognize that she definitely should have won the talent show in All Stars 5, and that is what I'm going to select as Mariah's best moment. In this talent talent show, Mariah gave a very raw and emotional performance piece entitled Stains on the Wall about the modern experience in the United States, the suffering and pain of segregation, and the fight for Black liberation, questioning if the hate and fear will ever end. In terms of Drag Race, it was one of the most candid but passionate displays a queen has ever done, and it's one of the most memorable performances the show has ever seen. Like, it's truly a crime that she wasn't even considered for the top spot this episode. It was a robbery so blatant that it might as well have come with police tape. But you know what, I digress. Mariah is still an icon of the drag world, even if she wasn't the highest placing contestant on either of her seasons. That's because Mariah was one of the first representations of ballroom culture on Drag Race, a notable member of the House of Balenciaga who was known for walking face. She started her tenure in ballroom in 2000 in Atlanta, and over the years has earned herself multiple titles, including officially receiving icon status in 2019. Everyone knows by now how influential ballroom culture is on Drag Race, and it's actually kind of a disservice to that ballroom culture that it took them until season 3 to finally cast somebody with ballroom experience. And even now the ballroom queens are few and far between, but if there's going to be anybody to usher that in for the show, Mariah was the perfect queen to do it. Her poise and polish are huge propellers of her reputation. She was always able to bring a sophistication to season 3 and All Stars 5, an energy of season quality that only comes with the experience in perfecting the art form. And that's the sort of dignity that I think she'll be bringing to UK vs. the World 3. It may be tough for her to claim her first challenge win here, but hey, if Jujubee was able to get her first challenge win on her 3rd season, why can't Mariah? That is and always will be Mother. Okay, so our final queen representing an English-based franchise is Melinda VERGA. Melinda VERGA hails from Canada's Drag Race Season 4, finishing with 5th place after losing lip sync to Near Enough in the season's makeover challenge, just short of the finale. Melinda was a threat in her own right though, because she won the Snatch Game of all challenges, portraying Manny Pacquiao. Melinda quickly became one of the most talked about personalities on Drag Race because she's kind of just like... I don't even know how to describe Melinda VERGA. She's just a once-in-a-lifetime character full of sophistication and nuance and stoicism. I can't even keep a straight face saying that. Melinda just brought a level of mess and chaos to Canada's Drag Race that's been missing from the show for a long time. Queens prior to and after her on this franchise were able to sort of fan that drama-fueled flame to keep it alive, like Fierce Alicious or Xana, but there was something about Fierce and Xana that you can kind of tell like, okay, they're doing this for a character or playing it up to camera, and their stint on Slakecation kind of confirmed that suspicion for me. But there was something about Melinda on Canada 4 that told me, no, I don't think this is a bit. I think she's just like that. Every episode, there was always some Melinda-isms that instantly transformed her into like what I can only describe as sort of like a flop tropica icon, culminating in an amazing untucked fight in episodes 4 and 5 that became just a goldmine of reaction videos for the Drag Race fandom. Every couple of seconds, banger after banger after banger. And yes, I am picking this untucked as Melinda's best moment. Like, you know how that untucked fight in episode 1 of All Stars 1 is one of the most quotable scenes in Drag Race history? This was that for Canada's Drag Race.
This is f***ing Vivian Westwood inspired.
This noise.
This is not the tea for me.
And I needed to reciprocate that with gratitude.
So if that tells you anything, while Melinda could succeed with her comedy skills, I think a lot of people are really going to be showing up for her so that we can get another juicy season of her Melinda-isms. And I cannot wait to see what energy she brings. The next queen I will be talking about hails from one of the most popular franchises of Drag Race ever, Drag Race Philippines. And we of course will be talking about Minty Fresh. Minty Fresh competed on the first season of the Philippine franchise, where she finished with 5th place, getting eliminated by Mother Zilhouette in the music video challenge at episode 9. Minty Fresh also lip-synced for her life 2 other times against future Slasian Royale winner Brigading in the Snatch Game in episode 6, which ended up being a double shantay, and against Brigading again for the makeover in episode 8. Don't get it twisted though, Minty did not spend the entire season in the bottom. She also has 2 challenge wins under her belt. In fact, she and one other queen who we will be talking about later are the only contestants on UK vs. the World 3 going into the season with more than 1 challenge win. Minty won the very first challenge in Drag Race Philippines history, the episode 1 talent show, with an electrifying performance involving dancing, lasers, etc., which I'm actually going to pick as her best moment. Then she later went on to win the episode 7 Shop Shop Ladies Ball. Minty marked her legacy as one of the look queens of Drag Race Philippines. Not only was her fashion heralded as some of the best of the franchise in a season that has some of the best looks in Drag Race history, no less, she's also known for her flawless makeup skills, which we can doubtlessly see in her UK vs. the World 3 promo look, because she is stamped. And because of that, she is one of the Philippines' most beloved queens. Like, the fandom really responds well to Minty Fresh, and I would definitely consider adding her to the Mount Rushmore of Drag Race Philippines. I'd have to think about it, but I would consider it. Now, specifically in a UK versus the world environment, Minty has a lot to live up to as a representative of Drag Race Philippines, following the footsteps of Marina Summers, who was the breakout star of UK versus the world too. And just to clarify, I am not making a point to compare queens, but I am saying that after Marina's success on that season, a lot more people are going to be watching the Philippines franchise with a little more anticipation for the next big thing. Because of Marina, a lot of people who did not watch Drag Race Philippines now understand the level of quality that that franchise can produce. And when Eva La Queen kind of underdelivered on Global All-Stars, there may be a little more pressure on Minty Fresh to maintain that reputation that Marina set. But knowing what Minty did on Philippines 1 and knowing how she's grown over the last 4 years, I think she can live up to that expectation. Her looks are amazing, she's proven she has performance capabilities, she can be a big threat, and the future is fresh. Up next, oh, I'm excited for this one. Deguitas presente con la morena candente. We of course have Serena Morena. Serena Morena competed on the very first season of Drag Race Mexico, where she finished with 8th place. Serena never won any challenges, but she was a lip-sync assassin in her own right, sending home Miss Vallarta and Vermelia Noir in episodes 2 and 3, before getting eliminated in episode 5 by Argenis during the girl group. Which, by the way, let me get on my soapbox, Serena Morena had absolutely no business being anywhere near the bottom of that episode, let alone getting eliminated. First off, that whole episode should have been judged in teams because Las Mexi Mami's performances of Así Soy Yo completely blew the other group entirely out of the water, in no small part thanks to Serena Morena that week. Now, I will be the first to acknowledge that her runway that episode was not the best, but I will die on the hill that her verse was so good that it should have landed her in the top. And yes, I'm going so far to say that her verse is her best moment from her original season. She showed a level of musicality, rhythm, and flow that some other Drag Race girls wish they could achieve.
Del mar, tu sirena, la que está bien pinche buena con caderas de Selena que te pone muy amena. Tu postre en la cena, la que truena la colmena. Ya dame tu berenjena que conmigo no hay pena.
Like, Serena Morena's verse in Así Soy Yo is a close runner-up to ZP's verse as my favorite non-English Drag Race verse of all time. And if anybody knows my obsession with ZP's verse, you know that is saying a lot for me. But you know what, I digress. Sorry I went on a tangent there. Serena Morena, though, is one of Drag Race Mexico's most lovable queens. Even though she was an early out, you always saw her pop up in the confessionals or promotional materials because she always had something funny or witty to say. And since her time on Mexico, it seems that she's maintained a good working relationship with World of Wonder. So much so that she had a whole episode dedicated to her in My Untucked Life, a WoW original that followed queens in a sort of like day in the life angle episode-esque style video. And I think this was a great investment because in my opinion, Serena Morena is funny. Obviously, I don't speak Spanish, so I cannot attest to her comedic prowess in that language without relying on subtitles, but both based on her appearance in My Untucked Life and her Meet the Queens clip on UK vs. the World, she seems to have a good grasp on comedic timing and humor in English, which makes me really excited for her on the season because, as I alluded to in the Kate Butch portion, Drag Race UK loves a comedy challenge. And Serena seems to really have the makings to get RuPaul cackling, so she could really be one to look out for, and she is definitely one of my favorites going into UK vs. the World 3. Up next, she doesn't know England, she only knows GAWDLAND. GAWDLAND was a contestant on the 3rd season of Drag Race Thailand. She made it all the way to the finale, but was unfortunately cut at 3rd/4th place alongside Spicy Sunshine. GAWDLAND never lip-synced for her life, but was in the bottom 3 twice, in the episode 3 Ball and the episode 7 Improv Challenge. She is the other queen on UK vs. the World 3 who did win 2 challenges, however, the episode 6 Rusical and the episode 8 Makeover. And when I was mulling over what GAWDLAND's best moment on this season was, I was kind of stuck between a couple of options. The first was her makeover. I feel GAWDLAND's makeover was a sort of magnum opus of her career on Thailand 3. It was the best showcase of her abilities and her creative vision, and I think it nailed a necessary story that is required for a successful makeover. And I remember tweeting out that I thought it was one of the best makeovers ever, actually. The second was her runway in episode 7. The theme on the runway that week was, quote, the iconic, where queens were tasked in recreating looks in pop culture, and GAWDLAND did a runway dedicated to Marsha P. Johnson. And I thought that this was a very referential look, referential to the heroes and trailblazers of queer history, and it was wonderful to see GAWDLAND honor and recognize that on Thailand 3. But if I had to choose one best singularly iconic moment for GAWDLAND, it would actually be her elimination in the finale. When she got cut, she gave an entire exit speech wholly in English. And to me, I always looked at it as GAWDLAND subtly saying to World of Wonder, hey guys, I may have lost Thailand, but hey, look at me. I'm fluent in English. Call me for versus the world or something.
This is not the end of my journey. This is just the beginning.
And I always thought that that was such a fierce move on GAWDLAND's part. I think I remember even making a TikTok right after Thailand 3 ended saying that I think she is going to single-handedly manifest a call for UK vs. the World 3. And here we are in 2026 with GAWDLAND back on our TV screens. And honestly, thank goodness, because I have been itching for another Thailand representative to come back. We had Pangina Heels on UK vs. the World 1, but she was a host. So it wasn't really until Slasian Royale where we had a true and proper Drag Race Thailand alumnus with Siam. But unfortunately, she only made it to top 7. However, I truly and wholeheartedly believe that GAWDLAND has what it takes to bring it home to Thailand. Like, something about her just screams Morena Summers, something about her just screams Pangina Heels, something about her just screams that she is going to be the international queen to break through into the mainstream from this season. So watch out for GAWDLAND because I promise that she will not disappoint. And the second to last queen is the one and the only NAOMY. This is a tall, tall woman. The only NAOMY competed on the first season of Drag Race Germany. Hailing from Cologne, she finished the season with only 10th place, the second queen to go home after losing a lip sync to Tessa T of Global All-Stars fame during Germany's Rusical. Unfortunately, as you can tell, the only NAOMY wasn't the longest lasting contestant on Germany 1, but we did get 3 quality episodes to get to know her before she got sent home. She is 100% the product of the Drag Race machine, finding her love of drag and her desire to pursue it through the show when she was only 16 years old. And we see a lot of that inspiration in her drag, I think. But we still see a sort of uniqueness in her that could be meant for something great. You know, vaguely edgy but introspective, vaguely green but filled with potential. Like, I don't think Drag Race Germany was the environment for the only NAOMY, and clearly it wasn't, having only gotten 10th place. But you could definitely see internally that she had untapped promise that a little time in the oven could uncover to global success, and I think she may tap into that on UK vs. the World 3. My best moment pick for the only NAOMY on Drag Race Germany Season 1 is actually during the premiere. In the premiere runway, the category was like signature drag, or like your best drag, or like your style in drag, kind of like one of those vague, like, your best you drag, you know what I mean? And she walked out in this teal cocktail dress that she bought for €20 at the Le Sur around the corner. And honestly, she should have been in the bottom, but she saved it when she said, the runway category is signature drag, and my signature drag style is pretty basic.
Mein Look ist 100% NAOMY, aber mein Drag ist eben pretty basic.
And I think about that moment often, like, it truly makes me giggle, and honestly, I appreciate the honesty and self-awareness more than anything. But long story short, the only NAOMY may have been an early out on her original season, but don't count her out. She is full of potential, and based on her Meet the Queens interview, it seems that a lot of her personality is going to be shining through this season. And I hope it does, because I would love for the fans to fall in love with her as I have fallen in love with her. And finally, we have the winner of the season. FONTANA, Fontana in the Casa, baby. She's so gay. Representing Drag Race Svadia, we have the icon, the legend, the winner of UK vs. the World 3, Fontana. Fontana competed on the first and only season of Drag Race Svadia, that's Drag Race Sweden for those of you who aren't aware, where she finished as the runner-up, losing the crown to Admira Thunderpussy. Fontana was one of the queens that contributed to what I like to call the Brazilian domination of Drag Race in 2023. You see, 2023 brought in a lot of Brazilian representation to the brand. Of course, we most notably had the flagship season of Drag Race Brazil, but alongside that, we also had an influx of Brazilian queens competing on other international franchises around the world, namely Melissa Bianchini on Italia 3, Kelly Hilton and Victoria Shakespeare's on Germany 1, and of course Fontana on Svadia 1. However, Fontana kicked off that year as the first Brazilian contestant in 2023, and she instantly became a fan favorite. And rightfully so, due to her personal disposition, funny confessionals, and her kind of becoming a threat to take the crown over the course of the season. While no one in reality could stop the tour de force that was Admira Thunderpussy, Fontana certainly gave it her all, claiming one win in the episode 6 Makeover, where she took inspiration from Steven Kubrick's The Shining. But outside of this, Fontana had other plentiful iconic moments on this season, obviously the makeover itself, but we also have her talent show and her snatch game and even her entrance. But my personal favorite moment of Fontana, and the one that I am picking for her best moment on Svadia 1, has to be her verse in the finale, which ironically I think was actually the same moment that I picked for Vanity Vane on my Global All-Stars Beginner's Guide. This is one of the best finale songs in Drag Race history, because all 3 queens really brought it and showcased their best selves, Fontana in particular. She whipped out her dance moves, moves, her lyricism, her heritage. It was truly everything to me and more. And I just have to say that Fontana is not just one of my favorite queens of 2023, but actually one of my favorite queens of all time. I know I always have a soft spot for any of the girls that competed on Drag Race Svadia, but Fontana was truly something special. Her and I have interacted many times online over the past couple of years, and I have nothing but nice things to say about her. So if any of you are watching this season and you need to know which queen to look out for, which queen to pay attention to, I strongly endorse Fontana. She is my winner through and through, and I hope she takes the crown back to Sweden, and I hope she takes the crown back to Brazil. And that's it. Those are the 10 global glamazons that make up the cast of UK vs. the World Season 3. And I just gotta say that this cast is kind of random, but I'm getting my life. Like, I think there's so much potential here to have a great season because of the fact that it's so random. Like, it's giving Drag Race Simulator if I've ever seen it, but I love when Drag Race really commits to an unexpected cast since so many people won't know what to anticipate, and that's exciting. Now, if you ask me my top 4, even though I know you didn't, I can easily tell you that my dream top 4 would be Fontana, GAWDLAND, SERENA MORENA, Kate Butch, with an honorable mention to Minty Fresh as my 5th placer. Oh god, the Be Like Boy curse is gonna get to them, isn't it? Sorry. Thank you all so much for watching, and once again, an extra special thank you to the members of the Be Like Boy YouTube membership program. I hope this video helped introduce all of you to some of the girls that you may not know, or I hope it helped reacquaint you with some of the girls that you already did know. And you know what? If this wasn't informative, then please just remember that I am only a gay person talking on the internet.